Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with a brand new Platinum Trophy Guide, and that is going to be for Cult of the Lamb. This is kind of a rogue-like mixture, follower game, if you know what that even means. Basically, you'll see once you jump into the game. For the most part, I'm going to be trying to skip through most of the tutorial stuff, as that's just going to teach you how to play the game, and go for more specifics about just how to play the game and stuff like that, and things to go for, as you're just going to have to eventually do it anyways. And then over specific trophies that are probably going to be a problem, or bosses, things like that. So we'll just jump right on in. Alright, so after you make it through the first little tutorial area, you'll rescue someone, who you'll then come back to your main village area. Upon doing so, you'll get a couple of trophies and things like that for gaining a follower and stuff, you know. You can change the forms of some of your followers and things like that if you really want to. I sometimes just like to leave them as is. And then you can check their traits, and that will help you in the long run. Some you can't really choose just yet, but as you play the game, you'll unlock more things. You can then assign them jobs and stuff like that to do. You can also gather materials and things like that as well. You can also manually do things instead of just having your followers do it for you if you really choose to. You will also eventually gain structures that will generate these resources, so don't worry about running out when you start off in the area, as, like I said, you'll be able to get more. So like, if you run out of stone or logs and things, you can eventually get a lumber mine and a stone mine. You'll also learn how to build things while you're here as well, and you'll place stuff wherever you want to. You know, basically it's a standard thing that you'll do. As you'll see, most of these tutorials are going to be pretty straightforward on teaching you how to do things. But for now, we're actually going to just show off what a normal run looks like for the game. Pardon me, I'm a little sick. But from here, you can head off to the Darkwood. Huzzah. Now, if you've also played Slay the Spire, this is kind of similar in a sense, as you have paths that you can choose and take along the way. So you can plan accordingly what you want to get per run based on what you need before going and fighting a boss, and at any point you can always just return instead of finishing the run. You'll always get a weapon at the start of a run too. Now, early on, I recommend cutting the grass, because that's the only thing you'll have access to in the game. Eventually, you'll unlock the ability to pardon me, break the rocks and things like that. Eventually, you will also need to collect all of the tarot cards, which can be given to you. You can do various things and quests along the way to get those, so do keep that in mind. Like I said, I'll probably go over those when those appear. When you are in a room that has traps and are completed, the traps will go away, so you don't have to worry about them while doing stuff. This is the first boss that you'll be eventually facing, Leshy. Don't worry for now, as he's not going to do anything to us. While you're going through these areas, please keep a note of the enemy types, as well as those will probably be some that will get thrown at you while facing the boss, so do keep that in mind. As you can see, early on the game isn't too hard. You can also change the difficulty. You'll also get blueprints along the way for things. I'm not sure if you need to get all of them, but it's probably just best to go for getting all of them when you can. But from here you'll see the Slayer of the Spire aspect take effect. And for me, I'm going to go more for food right now, because that's what we need. Just because having food early on is important at making sure your followers stay healthy and can keep working and doing their job. So getting all the food is important. But other than that, the game's not that difficult, I believe, trophy-wise. Just a little time-consuming, as there are certain aspects that you will need to do. One of which is needing to have at least 20 followers, which is a lot of runs of possibly going and getting followers and then bringing them back, and making sure that you have enough resources and materials to keep everybody up and happy, which I'm sure after a certain point you will. And then you also have follower quests, which there will be tutorials for that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all the game is a mixture of Isaac, Slay the Spire, while also in a run, if you happen to see these little like stars and stuff before entering a room, that's how you'll find the tarot guy. As you'll see, get a random tarot card. We'll take some extra health just because. After the end of your first actual outing, you will also get your second follower. As you can see, pretty much you can destroy everything in a run. Nothing is left to chance. But eventually you will make it to the little mini boss area. Mini bosses are basically just amped up versions of the base enemies you can see, but they're not too tough. Do note you can also play on easy, as you do not have to play on a specific difficulty for any of the trophies. So don't worry about that. If you're having trouble on a harder difficulty, you can always change it in the settings. Now while we're here, I also will try and just go for a blueprint, because that's what I like to go for. Always nice to have. They're completely random when you do get them though, so do keep that in mind. Another trophy to probably keep an eye out for is you will need to have a total of 666 coins on your person at one point in time. As you can see, we've completed one run out of 4 before we can fight the main boss. So there is going to be a little repetitiveness to it, but do keep that in mind, as that's just how this game is. It's not too bad like Isaac or anything, but as you'll progress through the game, you'll get better things, you'll get better weapons, you'll unlock skills that you can use, you know, things like that. The tutorial area is basically going to give you almost all of the stuff that you're going to need to get most of the common trophies in the game. Other than that, the rest is just going to be diligence on your part and just knowing what you need to do. Basically, just doing quests, doing side stuff, you know. You'll also have to sacrifice 10 or 20 followers at some point in time, and that will also be a trophy. Once again, you'll eventually unlock these things as you keep playing the game. And at any point, you can always make a manual save, back it up, or whatever you'd like to do. But for now, we're probably going to skip to anything else of importance and let you experience the playing through the tutorials and stuff like that, you know, skipping to the major stuff. So yeah. Alright, so the next thing to talk about is going to be eventually you'll unlock the ability to travel to different areas in the game. First one you'll get is the Lonely Shack. This one will be of importance to a couple of the trophies that you'll need. Mainly just one. I don't know why I said a couple, but there's a mini game that you can play while you're over here. Come back here, you can find a little blueprint for your followers. Come over here to the right, you'll find a little devotion area that Vertal has set up. You can come here every so often. You can also get some berries for free, because this is an area you can't really interact with all too much. You can come and visit, but you can't do much. And then you can actually come inside the house. You'll probably notice that thing in the back. You'll have a gift that you can give to raise the loyalty of a follower. Here you'll have the minigame Knucklebones. I'm not gonna play it, of course, but it's a pretty simple game concept to understand and win. So now we'll move on to the next thing of importance to talk about. So yeah. Alright, so probably the next thing to talk about is along the way you'll eventually run into the fishing guy. This will allow you to eventually head down to the lighthouse and do the fishing quests. And yeah. So the next thing probably going to be talking about is going to be the first big boss of the game, and that is going to be Leshy and the 2 trophies related to him. So yeah. Alright, so now you should be heading to the first major boss of the game, Leshy. Now there are 2 trophies related to this boss fight, one for simply beating him, and the second is for beating him without taking any damage, as that is a trophy tied to all of the major bosses. So do keep that in mind. As you'll see here, Leshy will be similar to some of the other enemies that you have fought. He has 2 main attacks that he likes to do, as well as summoning minions, so do keep that in mind. Do be careful when he does go underground, as it will actually do damage to you. He also has this attack, which will shoot out and do damage. Like I said, just be careful. Eventually, he will actually do more damage and start slamming his head down and around. Do be careful when he summons his minions, as they can deal damage, and if that damages you, that does count as taking damage. As you see, he's now slamming his head. I believe he only ever does it 3 times, and then it's good. But just like that, we'll have the Leshy fight done. No damage taken. You'll gain your first Heart of a Heretic, and you should have most of the common trophies, the first boss trophy, and then the first boss no damage trophy. Hooray! One thing that I have noticed though is that on easy mode you gain things a whole lot quicker, as when I've tried doing this on normal, it took me way longer to get the normal amount of stuff that I've gotten. I didn't even have half as much as stuff as I do now on normal as I did on easy, which is crazy. But anyways, I do believe that that is going to do it for this first video. As always, I do hope that these have been helpful or informative. Actually, I do think we're not quite done yet. I will go to the Watchtower or the Pilgrim's Passage, so we'll do another trophy before the video ends. Alright, so once you're here in Pilgrim's Passage, ironic I know, you'll basically have a couple things that you can do. I recommend getting all of the resources while you're here, because why not? It's not like anything that happens here is going to come back to your cult. By that I mean like getting the resources anyways. So get all the berries, all the trees, all the stones that you can get. Then from here, if you come down over to here, finally talk to the fishing guy, he'll give you the ability to catch fish. It's pretty simple. You just want to try and keep the hook in the area there, and as you'll see, he'll eventually want you to catch a select number of specific fish. So keep that in mind. This will be a couple of fishing quests that he'll want you to do. You can always come back and do these whenever. And also peer into the darkness while we're here. But as you can see, doing quests and things will get us stuff. We like stuff. Now if you come over here into the tower, or the lighthouse, let's say that you need to add some fuel. So you need at least 15 wood. Luckily we have some wood outside that we can get. That came in pretty handy, as I accidentally used all of it building a lumber farm. But upon doing so, you will then get the trophy for lighting the lighthouse. These guys will give you, they will give you some devotion, which is pretty cool. As you'll see now. Then you can also come over here, and you can now buy cards and things like that while you're here if you happen to have the money for it. Pretty cool. You also have your blueprints, like always. But, like I said, you can always come back for those whenever you want. So yeah, do remember that every single day you also... you can give a sermon and stuff like that. Like I said, you're just trying to collect everything that you can in the game. So doing so will definitely be the fastest way that you can do things, is going to be the most beneficial. But as always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and I do hope that these guides have been helpful or informative in some way, shape, or form. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.